The impact of popular culture in education and the causes of violence. Popular culture has had a huge impact in education. Different forms of popular culture, such as films, television, music, sports, and fan cultures, shape our society. We aren't educated as much through opera, theater, poetry, philosophy, the liberal arts, and schools as much as we used to be. Now we use popular culture as our main source of knowledge, although, when it was originally created, it was meant to simply entertain the masses while the elite ruled. One of the main reasons popular culture became so popular was because of mass communication. Artists were seen on screen, heard on radio, or watched on television at little or no cost. I will now explain the differences among these forms of media. Cinema, unlike photography, is capable of cheating death, and according to Lev Manovich, for film to be realistic, the screen has to act like a prison to the mind. The ability to overcome distance, present the illusion of reality, and suspend morality are some of the reasons why film was an instant hit with 20th century people and continues to thrive. Films can be positively used for educational purposes if they are discussed afterwards. Many teachers use films in the wrong way, as a filler. That is not beneficial for anyone. Another form of media that is widely used for mass communication is television. The reason for its easy accessibility is because television solved two important problems: alienation and mobility. Those that were unable to go see films and enter into a relationship with the camera were able to relate to the television screen. Television is definitely an educational tool. It can be used to spread information quickly. Viewers must be careful in what they believe because television also has the ability to shape the world because it selects what parts of the world we will see. Music is so popular with the public because it has an essence that cannot be captured in words. An example of one genre of music is hip-hop. Hip-hop is characterized by its hybridity, or the ability to take from its environment and capture the sounds and feelings of the world around it. People are able to form a close bond with music. Many teachers utilize this form of popular culture to educate their students and allow students to express themselves through this medium. Sporting events are some of our most popular cultural events because perhaps subconsciously we all know that at any given moment we can witness something communal, spiritual, and cultural. We can witness perfection and greatness. Sports are widely played in schools. For those partaking in them, they learn how to work on a team and are able to express how they feel in the game. Because sports are so popular, many teachers bring them into the classroom. They create review games in which students can play some sort of sport while still learning. An example of this is trash-skip-ball. All of these forms of popular culture have their own positives and negatives. They can form our society in whatever they want it to be, even in negative ways because not all the information given is accurate. As said by Plato, all such things seem to maim the thought of those who hear them, and do not as a remedy have the knowledge of how they really are. We as a society generally believe what we are told because we don't have any prior knowledge on the topic. Plato also said, and whether therefore, seeking their works, they do not recognize that these works are third from what is, and are easy to make for the man who doesn't know the truth. For such a man makes what looks like beings, but are not. The public is easily fooled into believing false truths. The average person, according to Kant, simply wants to be entertained, to go through life led by anyone who will make them laugh. Because of this, popular culture has a much more dramatic influence on how culture is defined. Those people who are able to capture the attention of the camera, even in negative ways, will be the political, cultural, and economic trendsetters. They will be the people who influence others how to think, talk, dress, and interact with others. We are shown what the so-called norm is, and are told that we need to do anything we can to be normal. A way for media to have a positive outcome is for those captured by the cameras to elevate one's tastes, and then others will follow, and the whole aesthetic and political culture will rise above all expectations, ushering in a new era of culture and democracy. It has come to the point where popular culture is the main form of education. It has objectified knowledge in that knowledge is now seen as information, something that can be delivered, retrieved, and stored. Most people accept that we can only know the world through some sort of mediation. This is why things such as film, television, music, and sports have become such a big part of society. If popular culture is going to continue to be the main source of education, then it would be helpful for society to know that re-representing reality means understanding there is always bias, meaning or truth is constructed, things are interpretations, and that it not only pertains to words but also images. Popular culture does not just impact education, it is education. Many people believe that popular culture is the only possible reason for violence. But neither side wants to admit that school shootings are a problem whose roots lie far beyond any simple casualty related to cultural artifacts, that rather they are embedded in social practices and the environment of the school and the society. Violence is generally a result of the hidden curriculum. The hidden curriculum is an abstract term that describes the real conditions of acting and thinking in consumerist culture and democratic society. The way society is displayed within popular culture is not always easy to live up to. The serial conformity of capitalist culture demands that students comply with dominant standards of dress, play, and thought. For those students alienated from the hidden curriculum of schooling because they refuse to participate in both learning and free time in normative ways, the school, when not supplemented by other activities or parental understandings, can exacerbate their hopelessness. The shooters generally feel like they don't meet the expectations of societal views and may be ridiculed by their peers. They also may create a false self in order to survive in society. This false self is basically a compliant public persona that allows them to get by in school with parents and teachers without much criticism. The false self is a persona that takes over once the child has become deprived and been foreclosed from adopting secondary gains to alleviate the pressure of conforming. Secondary gains allow students to sublimate the desire for revenge. The secondary gains are specific objects that supply fantasies through which the student can play safely with reality, especially a traumatic one. Because people want to blame popular culture for violence, sometimes the secondary gains are taken away. They believe secondary gains foster and water them when they ought to be dried up, and sets them up as rulers in us when they ought to be ruled. They also believe, as said by Plato, we shall say the imitative poet produces a bad regime in the soul of each private man by making phantoms that are very far removed from the truth, and by gratifying the soul's foolish part. In reality, taking away the potential shooter's outlet is not good, because when youth are deprived of this environment, they become outwardly transgressive, or act in ways that observers find difficult to fathom. There is no proof that these secondary gains are the cause of violence because as a result of this meaning-making process through a re-representing of information, it is fair to suggest that although we live in the same world, we shape the world differently depending on how we interpret information. Instead of blaming popular culture and taking away the freedom of students, a better look at the hidden curriculum must take place. The hidden curriculum of school foments this antagonistic relationship between students because they are required to rebel against one another instead of against the values of the society in which they live. From the formal curriculum, students learn that conflict or disagreement over the subject matter in class is invalid, and, needing to express the disagreement they experience, they channel this frustration into the spaces where the teacher is no longer in control. The hallways, the cafeteria, or the library. Because students and faculty spend more time concentrating on the objects and objectives of learning than on how to incorporate these strategies into a living community, violence tends to take place. It is crucial that they are provided with a meaningful and relevant curriculum, along with the time to converse and interact with one another. If they are not given this and have no outlet for the true self, students turn the aggression and anger resulting from maintaining this frustrating position onto themselves or random others in the hated place. I believe that violence is an outcome of ignorance by society. Thank you for your time.